power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, yet we see it everywhere in everything. There's one power indescribable, yet we speak of it in every word we say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem, or Heaven's Door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth, or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe out. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's one power, one power, one power.
Because in every day of your life, there are opportunities to perform little kindnesses for others. And each smallest act of kindness reverberates across great distances and spans of time, affecting lives unknown to the one whose generous spirit was the source of this good echo. Because kindness is passed on and grows each time it's passed, until a simple courtesy becomes an act of selfless courage years later and far away. Likewise, each small meanness, each thoughtless expression of hatred, each envious and bitter act, regardless of how petty, can inspire others and is therefore the seed that ultimately produces evil fruit, poisoning people whom you have never met and never will. All human lives are so profoundly and intricately entwined, those dead, those living, those generations yet to come, that the fate of all is the fate of each, and the hope of humanity rests in every heart and every pair of hands. I think these are wise words this November, as we have an opportunity once again to begin again. Let us choose to look past the veil of separation that appears to divide us into the hearts of our fellow humans and see our oneness there. And as we do so, let us choose to take care of one another and have each other's backs. Let us choose to practice agape and treat everyone with respect and kindness to the best of our current abilities. And let us choose to practice gratitude and forgiveness and work a little bit harder on the log in our own eye rather than the stick in someone else's, which I believe by itself is a lifetime work. Shall we pray this new beginning in together? Will you close your eyes with me? And if you're willing, let the I in my prayer be your I, so that this prayer becomes your prayer. I know deep in the marrow of my bones, deep in the center of my heart, deep in the essence of my soul, that there is just one life, one power, one presence, one conscious, loving energy, one infinite intelligence that is everywhere in the visible universe, that is indeed the invisible universe, and is that which is back of what we can see and touch and feel. There is no place I can go where it is not. If I could travel to the far reaches of the universe, there it would be. And it would be all along the journey as well. As deep as I can go within myself, there it is again. I cannot escape it. It is the source of all that is and all that is not yet. And so simply, by virtue of it being infinite, it is right where I am. I am made of this thing I call God, because I cannot not be, for there is nothing else to be made out of. And by virtue of it being infinite, it is right where my brother is. It is right where my sister is. It is right where my neighbor is and the so-called stranger. Right where that person who on the outside seems so different than me is. They each are made of God's stuff because they cannot not be, for there is nothing else for them to be made out of. And as I come to this realization yet again, I know that in the eyes of every soul I meet, God will be looking back at me, and I choose to remember this. Let us take this knowingness into the days ahead. We will need it to see clearly. Let us recommit to remembering this truth daily in our spiritual practice. We will need this fortitude. Let us recommit to living this truth into our lives on a daily basis. Let us intentionally live this into being. The world needs it, needs us. And I release these words of power to do what good they will for any who are receptive to the ring of truth within them. And so it is.
It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunlight on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. It's one power. It's the power of the love that lives in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. It's one power, one power, one power. This is the sound of one heart starting to hear. This is the sound of faith stepping out of fear. Oh, the journey of one soul passage through time, and oh, this is one lone dreamer learning to fly. This is the sound of love reaching out from the storm, calling through the thunder, through the anguished war. And I can feel the winds, feel them beginning to turn. And oh, this is one small light starting to burn, and your love is shining in everything I do, and I hear you calling for me. This is the sound of a prayer on its way to the sun, calling all the children to gather as one. And I can see us there, see it clear as the blue. And oh, this is one small part. Here is my gift to you, and your love is shining in everything I do, and I hear you calling for me. So count the hilltops, count the towns, as we're crossing over. See no, hear no, speak no sound on this
morning, Unity in Linwood. Good morning to those noble souls who have joined us in our physical sanctuary, and welcome to these equally noble souls who have joined us in our virtual sanctuary. My name is Dr. Richard Loren Held. Again, it is my great honor, it's my privilege, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this evolving, unfolding idea of oneness and possibility, which we call Unity in Linwood. For those who have children, please note that Youth and Family Ministries gatherings are launching at this very moment. If you would like credentials for next week's gatherings, contact that program's director. Her name is Stacy Bailey. We invite you to avail yourselves to the vehicles of support which we have fashioned for you. Of course, visit unityinlinwood.org, where you can know your leadership team more deeply. You can read blogs, enjoy podcasts. You may even enlist prayer support, download brochures. A new website will be launching in upcoming weeks. Oh, you'll like it. Engage with UIL on the social media platforms of your choice. We invite you to download the Unity in Linwood app. It's free in both Android and Apple versions. We invite you to click on the Breeze link in your social media chat window. This will enable you to receive text notifications and reminders. Is there anyone here today who benefits from the occasional reminder? Let the record show there were indeed hands. And as always, if you'd like to stay in touch with us through periodic email messages and know we would never share or sell your information, yet again, click on the link provided in your social media chat window. We are happy to include you. It's also a great way simply to confirm that we have your current information. Always, if you would like assistance with any or all of the above, we are here to help. We received some calls this week. I want to thank those of you who called us and requested our assistance. It is a joy to connect with you. That short mission statement: practical spirituality, welcoming community. Yet again, so short on word, but so broad in content. And every week I like to support this short mission statement with one of the 6 bullet points, one of the 6 values statements, which we developed in conversation with Unity in Linwood's Board of Trustees beginning in late 2014. Today I offer the 4th. I wonder if you will indulge me in sharing it again. So take a deep breath. Does this belong to you? It reads as follows: we believe each person is an individualized expression of divinity itself, and we accept each person as such, without condition, question, or exception. As a matter of principle, then, it can be said that we at Unity in Linwood love boldly. Does that fit with you? If you would like personal prayer, our prayer chaplains are eager to join with you. If you would like what we call a divine wholeness session, meaning the experience of allowing another person in a short time of silence to see the highest possible truth of you. If you would like that, start the process simply by writing prayer@unityinlinwood.org. You will hear from a chaplain soon. If you are new or newer to Unity in Linwood, we'd love to send you a gift of Unity's daily word. Again, simply click or call. Please include your mailing address. Whew. So far, I think this is going quite well, don't you? Okay, the most primitive organism on the planet is the prokaryote. Oh, Lord, here he goes with the prokaryote again. I can hear you thinking. The most primitive organism on the planet is the prokaryote. Now, this prokaryote might be described as little more than a cell membrane surrounding a droplet of cytoplasm. I mean, you might think of it as something of a microscopic goo balloon. And yet this prokaryote, this most primitive organism on the planet, you understand, it eats, and it digests, it breathes, excretes. It even exhibits something of a neurological processing. It senses where food exists, and it slimes its way toward dinner. It recognizes toxins and predators, and it slimes its way towards safety. Said another way, our prokaryote displays something of an intelligence. Perhaps it can be said that cells are smart. And from that moment, say some 750 million years ago, that the earliest smart cells hooked up, they've continued to form ever more sophisticated communities, if you will, increasing their awareness of environment exponentially, subdividing the workload with more precision and effectiveness than the organizational charts of Google, and allowing many more to live on much less. And these smart cells continue to learn from experience. Stick with me, creating cellular memories or genes and passing these genes to their offspring. And not only are these genes shared among members of the same species, but they are shared among members of different species. This sharing of learned information is not an accident. If genes are the physical memories of an organism's learned experiences, then this exchange of genes is the sharing of memories designed to enhance the survival of the biosphere, designed to enhance all of life on the planet. The Beatles may have had it right all along. We really do get by with a little help from our friends. Now, in this understanding, organisms can no longer be seen as disconnected. There are no walls between species. When we genetically alter a tomato, we potentially alter the entire biosphere in ways that we cannot predict. And scientists are acknowledging this invaluable role of cooperation in sustaining life in the biosphere in a newer field of study called systems biology. It was the French biologist Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck who presented a theory of evolution based upon such an instructive, cooperative interaction among organisms and their environments 50 years before Darwin's work. And while his theory of an evolution driven by community and cooperation was largely displaced by Darwin's theory of an evolution driven by competition and struggle, newer biology would suggest that the overlooked Lamarck was not entirely wrong, and that the celebrated Darwin was not entirely right. It was today's Dr. Bruce Lipton who wrote, and I quote that if we fail to apply the lessons of our shared genetic destiny, which should be teaching us the importance of cooperation among all species. Would you like to hear that again? Which should be teaching us cooperation among all species. We threaten human existence. We need to move beyond Darwinian theory, which stresses the importance of individuals, to one that stresses the importance of community. That this belief in an evolution driven by survival of the fittest is lacking and destructive. A primary cause of the problems that we face in today's world. It was James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis that said the same thing in different words, that the earth and all of its species are one interactive living organisms, that the biosphere is a tightly integrated, holistic, harmonizing community, and that tampering with the balance of this superorganism, or Gaia, threatens its very survival. Unity's own Myrtle Fillmore, one of the co-founders, wrote it this way. She said, God is the one perfect life flowing through all of us. God is the one pure substance out of which our organism is formed. God is the power that gives us motive power, the strength that holds us upright and allows us to exercise our very limbs, the wisdom that gives us intelligence in every cell of our organism, every thought of our minds. God is the only reality of us. All else is but a shadow. Ernest Holmes of religious science spoke to this same idea, and I paraphrase Dr. Holmes, that the infinite cannot oppose the infinite. That, in effect, God cannot oppose God. Now, this doesn't mean that humanity can't make unenlightened decisions. It simply means that humanity's unenlightened decisions will ultimately be balanced in ways which may or may not satiate our collective addiction to pleasure. I would say that there's one thing happening here, and that one thing is the life, the isness, the beingness we choose to call God, and that each of us is an emanation of that one life. And so it is that we honor God to the degree that we honor life, affirming its noble worth, celebrating its infinite potential, and supporting its inherent right to be. And that we dishonor God to the degree that we dishonor life, denying its worth, discounting its potential, and disregarding its right to be. Said in different words, I would echo the words of the writer of the latter gospel in suggesting that to love God is to love life, that to love God is to love each other. It's as if the scientists are finally stumbling over the apex of that mountain of human understanding to find the spiritual teachers waiting to say, well, what took you so long? So for our purposes today, while you might be tempted to think of yourself as an individual, I would suggest that you are better described as a cooperative community of some 50 trillion single-celled citizens. A cooperative of individual organisms which have evolved a strategy for their mutual survival. That from the moment that these earliest smart cells hooked up, the endless advantages of living in community led to organizations of millions, billions, even trillions of socially interactive smart cells, culminating with you sitting here, listening to this conversation. You've come a long way, baby. You, in a sense, stand at the leading edge of life's experiencing of itself. It calls to mind images of Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio. On the bow of the Titanic, may our ending be sweeter than theirs. So in any exploration of the three perennial questions, where did I come from? Why am I here? And how do I make the best of it? Whew. The suggestion of today is that we awaken from a perspective of Darwinian thinking, which might have us answer with words such as, well, I am a product of random chemistry, here with no real purpose whatsoever, so I'd better start competing, to a perspective of that most primitive organism on the planet, which might have us answer with words such as, well, I am life's longing for itself, here to bring harmony and balance to my family of being. Here to bring harmony and balance to my family of being, so I'd better start cooperating. I wrote the following words in 2016. I've often thought of Unity in Linwood as a microcosm of the macrocosm, as a really beautiful example of what's possible for humanity on the larger stage. Now, I suppose it would be easier to have a room full of those whose orientations conform to your familiarity, and it might be easier to have a room full of those whose religions conform to your dogma, and it might be easier to have a room full of those whose ethnicities conform to your comfort, and yes, it might be easier to have a room full of those whose politics conform to your sensibilities. But you know, that which might be easy for the ego isn't always good for the soul. For it's not in a room full of those whose orientations conform to your familiarity that you learn about the power of love. And it's not in a room full of those whose religions conform to your dogma that you learn about the breadth of truth. It's not in a room full of those whose ethnicities conform to your comfort that you learn about the power of diversity. And it's certainly not in a room full of those whose politics conform to your sensibilities that you learn about the potentials of cooperation. So yes, I've often thought of Unity in Linwood as a microcosm of the macrocosm, as a really beautiful example of what's possible for humanity on the larger stage. For this room has some for whom the past election is a source of celebration. And this room has some for whom the past election is a source of sorrow, some for whom the event gives rise to a new hope, some for whom the event gives rise to a new fear. But in the end, we're all in this room together, seeking to elevate our discourse above the destructiveness of ideas such as winners and losers, into the sweeter realms of authentic community marked by shared perspective, deep listening, intentional understanding, and warm embrace. So it is that indeed I would offer this moment in history not as an easy moment, but as a moment rich with the capacity to grow that very soul of a nation if we can but accept that invitation. It's an invitation to step hand in hand across the self-imposed boundaries of orientation, religion, ethnicity, and to reveal a new world in which we refuse to define each other by the individual paths we walk alone, but by the collective mountain we climb together. And yes, it's an invitation to step hand in hand across the self-imposed boundaries of politics, to reveal a new world in which our differences elevate all of us through a coming together instead of diminishing each of us through a coming apart. In the words of Unity's Mr. Fillmore, everything in life happens from center to circumference. And if there be truth in this, and I do believe there is, then let us stop looking to what's happening out there in Washington as the source of what's possible for Linwood, and let's start looking to what's happening right here in Linwood as the source of what's possible for Washington. It was just last week that I posted to Unity in Linwood's social media the following quote: "Remember oneness. Awaken compassion. Speak possibility. Practice love. Embrace diversity. And honor life." And that work continues. So for a short time of reflection, for a short time of meditation, 2 minutes, I've chosen to share a poem by one of my favorite poets. Her name is Dr. Maya Angelou. And if you're willing to let my voice stand in her stead, take a deep breath. If you feel comfortable doing so, feel free to close your outer eyes. And in the words of the poet, my wish for you is that you continue. Continue to be who and how you are, to astonish any mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender heart. Continue in a society marked with cruelty to let the people hear the grandeur of God in the pearls of your laughter. Continue to let your eloquence elevate the people to heights they had only imagined. Continue to remind the people that each one is just as good as the others, that no one is beneath, that no one is above. Continue to remember your own young years and to look with favor upon the lost and the least and the lonely. Continue to put the mantle of your protection around the bodies of the young and the defenseless. Continue to take the hand of any despised or diseased and walk proudly with them in the high street. Continue to plant a public kiss of concern on the cheeks of the sick and the aged, the infirm, and count it as a natural action to be expected. Continue to let gratitude be the pillow upon which you kneel to say your nightly prayer. And let faith be the bridge you build to overcome any evil and to welcome good. Continue to ignore no vision which comes to enlarge your range and increase your spirit. Continue to dare to love deeply and to risk everything for the good thing. Continue to float happily in the sea of infinite substance, which has set aside riches for you even before you had a name. My wish for you is that you continue. And by doing so, you and your work will be able to continue eternally.
Love is but a song to sing, fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go. We shall surely pass. When the one that left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. Hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now, right now.
This part of the service that we refer to as offertory is really a time for us to share microphones and to stand and to intentionally stand in the flow of substance. It is a time for intentional practice. This is an intentional opportunity to know along with your spiritual community and with every last thread of your thought, with all of your power, with all of your intention, with all of your being, that by virtue of your inability to be separate from the one substance, you are rich abundance itself. You are life in abundance, wisdom in abundance, power in abundance, love in abundance. Indeed, all that God is, you are in abundance, richly endowed simply by virtue of your inability to be separate. You only need to know it and know it powerfully and accept it with your whole self. So in this time of virtual community, let us join our hearts and minds together and bless our individual offerings, knowing that we are one. And then while Matthew enfolds us with his beautiful voice, you'll have time to access the text to give or online donation option that will be posted for you in your social media chat box window. So if you would, please take your offering. If it's a check, just hold that in your cupped hands. Or if you plan to donate online or by text, just hold the intention of that amount in your hands, knowing that both are simply symbols of abundance. And know with me, know with your community, that through the sharing of your abundance of love, of wisdom, of life, of plenty itself, that you are, and thus we are, a blessing in this world. And so it is.
All that I am, I offer at the altar of love. All that I am, I offer at the altar of love, in sweet surrender, in sweet surrender. All that I am, I offer
Hello, everyone. My name is Mario Magellarala Molinero, and I'm the Executive Artistic Director at Jet City Improv. And I just want to say from all of us to Unity, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my goodness, you all. You all made such an amazing gift for us. And I know when I opened it up in the mail this week, it completely blew me away. So I just want to give so much love to the Reverend Nina Clark, to Karen, to all the organizers and the folks that donated. Thank you again. Your impact on us is really big. And I know during this crazy time, it is community partners, it is friends, and it is family that is going to get us through. So I just wanted to say thank you to Unity, thank you to your community, and know that we got your back too. And that when we gather together again, that we will support y'all too. A big thing that I was kind of thinking about is Unity in Linwood and Jet City kind of share something together, which is we try to inspire people, to empower people through the body, mind, and soul, and the heart. And so that's what we've been trying to do. And so to have you all as friends is a big deal. And I look forward to the time when we may gather together. Let us gather together. So thank you. Many blessings. Have an amazing fall, winter, and then, of course, New Year. Thank you. Bye.
That video is a response to a donation that we gave that stemmed from our fall gala. We, last March, we were inspired when things got shut down by COVID. Rather than having an auction where we walked around and asked our community to give us things to auction, we felt that that was not an appropriate time to do that. So instead, we put our heads together and came up with this idea of giving back to our community, to standing in our values and our principle of prosperity and giving back to our greater Puget Sound community. And that video that you just witnessed was a response to that. And we also have another letter that came to us that we would like to share with you today as well. And this one says, "Dear Reverend Nina and the rest of Unity in Linwood, typically, I begin thank you letters by talking about what's happening at the theater right now, something special that your gift has made possible, actors practicing lines, stage managers checking their light cues, wooden O being packed tightly and carefully into a touring van. But today, the most important thing happening at the theater is your gift. It's you making sure that whenever theaters are safe to reopen, that Seattle Shakespeare Company will be there, ready to welcome artists and audiences once again. I've recently been struck anew by the importance of this work that we're doing together. Our world has a deep need for the connecting power of stories, stories that challenge us or comfort us or give us hope and a vision of the future. And I'm grateful Seattle Shakespeare has been telling those stories for 30 years. And I'm grateful that you are a part of that telling as well. Thank you for your gift today. Thank you for committing, even when it seems far away, to a future with theater still strong in Seattle, with students giggling and cheering during matinees, and with us sitting together in the theater to participate in the telling of a story once again. I can't wait to see you there. And a special thank you for your wonderful one-of-a-kind card. It truly made my day. Acts of kindness just mean so much, much, much more right now. Thank you. And the card that he's referring to, I'll share with you. One of our, Marion Bailey, one of our congregants, made a card for each one of the 5 beneficiaries that we donated to. And each card represented them specifically. They were quite beautiful. So, thank you.
I'm so proud to be a part of an organization that gave $5,000 back to its greater community and its nonprofit partners. We believe in gratitude. We teach gratitude at Unity in Linwood, and we teach the circular nature of giving and receiving, that indeed giving and receiving are inextricably bound. I think the Taoists have much to teach us. Matthew Wilson, thank you. Scotty and Jonesy, Reverend Nina Clark, Nadine, Cameron, Amelia, Nathan, Michelle, and the welcome teams, thank you. And your social media host? I don't see Laura. Where is she? Well, no wonder I didn't see her. And thanks to Laura and all of our social media hosts, of course. Your tech crew today is bringing you this service via a new mixing board that looks something like the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. So give them a little love in your social media chat box window, please. They're doing a great, great job. Bishop Kathy Chalmers, one of our own, Advance Directives Workshop, November 14th. I do believe that's this Saturday, 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, offered virtually. It's been written in the complex world of Western medicine and healthcare. Treatment and care choices are difficult to navigate, especially now in the time of pandemic, even for those who are well educated and knowledgeable about their own health. Explore the realities of healthcare, aging, crisis, the dying process, and choices related to these realities with Bishop Kathy Chalmers, who works as a professional healthcare chaplain, currently with the inpatient palliative care services at Providence Regional Medical in Everett. She happens to be in the house this morning. What a gift. The workshop will include an exploration of advanced healthcare directives, life and death preferences and choices, and information designed to help you navigate those choices. That sounds like a valuable, valuable conversation. Special thanks to Bishop Kathy Chalmers. As with all events, please register by visiting the website or by clicking the link available in your social media chat window. Spiritual Saturdays, the 21st, Rabbi Ted Falcon, 11 o'clock in the morning, streaming through your social media vehicles. If you have not yet experienced the wisdom that is Rabbi Ted Falcon, please give yourself that gift. Thanksgiving Eve. This year we've scheduled this to be on the eve of Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite services of the year. It's a service dedicated to the spiritual discipline and practice of gratitude. That is November 25th, 7 o'clock p.m. If you are on our email list, you have noted that we have offered 3 products through our virtual gift shop. They are the annual calendar. Special thanks to Shelley Oberman. It is a powerful and compelling work of art. Matthew Wilson's CDs. Who ever gets enough of that voice? I don't know. And Unity in Linwood face covering. It was designed and hand created by our own Stacy Bailey. This is something of a beta test. We're offering curbside pickup by appointment Tuesdays from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We're also happy to ship. UIL Connects. It's an online moderated Zoom experience. It happens on 2nd and 4th Thursdays, beginning at 7 o'clock p.m. I do believe that would translate to this coming Thursday. Again, register in advance, please. You are welcome here. If you hear me, you are welcome here. Your Board of Trustees made a change to bylaws, and that change effectively eliminated the dictate that membership at Unity in Linwood required physical proximity to a building. What this means to you, we believe you can be an active, enrolled, committed, and connected member of Unity in Linwood, no matter where you live. If that interests you, if you would like more information, please write me directly. We are fashioning a membership weekend for December. Details will be forthcoming. Take a deep breath with me. Dear friends, noble souls, let's close the outer eyes yet again. It's my belief that authentic spiritual awakening will always whisper that you are more than you've thought. An authentic spiritual awakening will always bring us closer together, never further apart. Spiritual awakening lifts us up as individuals, brings us together as people. So this morning, I delight in the deep, deep and abiding knowledge that I'm surrounded with souls who are somehow a little more than they were, and who somehow love each other a little more deeply. What an honor it is to be, and what an honor it is to be together, for the privilege of sharing this portion of my journey with you. Oh, my heart, it does dance. And we close our time together as we always do with sung words of blessing, with sung words of farewell.
May the long time sun shine upon you.